Hello, everyone. Although it's cloudy here, we're squinting without sunglasses with respect for people. So we are starting an awesome story with a podcast with Sergey Litvinov. Sergey is standing a bit farther away because he is very tall. iGaming.com.
The weather's nice, not too hot.
Yes, but it's a bit stuffy. Serge, what are you doing?
I help investors launch casinos from scratch. I explain how to do it, why it's worth it, why it might not be. Stories like that.
Should we port crypto into iGaming or not?
Well, the intersection of gaming, audience, and crypto is actually quite small. Even typical casino players aren't really into crypto. That's why there's a trend towards borrowing right now. Though crypto is replacing fiat payments, it's still slow and mass adoption hasn't really kicked off. Thus, crypto casinos are more the exception than the rule.
Which closed down the channels.
I don't recommend starting a crypto casino. It's a utopia. You just won't find an audience.
So, Sergey and I are heading to Sigma now to study what's happening in the industry and talk about trends later.
So guys, here we are inside Sigma. It's very beautiful. Everything is so vibrant. There's such a crowd here. But the main thing we want to discuss is what's happening at conferences, because ideally the biggest trends appear at them. Sergey, so what's happening with trends in iGaming right now?
Well, actually, the global trend lately is that affiliates and media banking teams are starting to create their own products. And linked to this is the fact that many products that used to be standalone, like B2C brands, are creating B2B platforms in order to sell these platforms to media banking teams and affiliates. So the number of platform providers is increasing, about 10 here, I think, at this conference. Large brands are selling their technological solutions for creating casinos. On one hand, they are creating competition in the form of new players, but on the other hand, they are diversifying risks by moving into B2B. What other trend? There is now a trend towards Tier 1 countries, meaning media banks, teams, and affiliates are focusing on these countries. There are payment solutions for them, so the marginal earnings are higher in Tier 1 countries. Therefore, the focus is on creating and promoting casinos, specifically in Tier 1. That's Europe, North America, and Australia, usually. So you could say Tier 1 is at the top now, and everyone is striving to work in this region. Payment services have emerged for these regions, and consequently, it's become interesting for everyone.
And what's with regulation? In Tier 1 nations, it's pretty strict.
Regulation is strict. There used to be problems because there were no payment services for these regions, and everyone was afraid because payment services for the regions usually take a rolling reserve. This can be a couple of $100,000 as an insurance deposit to ensure that the casino does not break the rules and will not be fined. The payment service takes this amount of money as an insurance deposit, which acts as a safety net in the event of fines, ensuring they won't lose their license. But what's interesting is that recently, this market has been starting to expand and grow significantly. Payment solutions are becoming quite trendy and popular, with numerous teams and companies innovating and creating diverse payment services. As more payment solutions emerge, the associated risks are diminishing. It becomes increasingly complex and challenging to monitor and track all of these new services. Furthermore, even the rigidity of strict regulation is somewhat offset due to the sheer difficulty in keeping up with the rapidly growing number of emerging companies.
It seems that the strictness of familiar laws is being offset rather than the necessity of their enforcement.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound great. You can eat at this press.
Yes, but you see, even with the inherent risks present, high earnings significantly stimulate market growth despite high risks being involved.
The earnings are very high there.
I won't reveal all the figures, but in one of the podcasts, they didn't even believe me that such money can be earned, right?
Yes.
Well, the earnings of around $10 million constitutes a casino's monthly revenue and is kind of an established industry average in this sector.
So, do they all want to create their own branded platform products?
Well, of course, the product accumulates all the added value, and moreover, it capitalizes, making it more sustainable than marketing companies and service companies. So, yes, there's this pursuit, the creation of gambling ecosystems and the capitalization of business, so to speak.
But what about the guys who are, for example, just game providers? It's like they're starting to fall out of the market because everyone is starting to create their own products.
In fact, game providers also often act as investors when creating game platforms and game products. I know several such cases. They see that there is good turnover in this business and just create their own platforms. There are game providers who decisively and specifically move towards creating their own customized platforms to sell their games much more prominently than their games sell in others' casinos, because they can manage different priorities, put them first, and gain more turnover by doing so.
So platform providers are moving toward games.
Payment systems are moving towards creating platforms, and gaming teams are moving towards creating platforms. In other words, we can say that there is an accumulation of
Experience in the creation of such an ecosystem. Everyone is just approaching from different angles, and everything got mixed up in the end.
They try to make the business more sustainable and more profitable.
Listen, do you think there are any trendy brands, companies, or stands at this exhibition that you could point out? Are we going to look for those with you, or is that impossible for an exhibition?
Well, here we are standing next to the Grow Partner stand. This is one of those trendy partners that work with major advertisers. One of the partners with a good reputation, a strong team. And basically, reputation means everything in our business. So protect young people's honor.
Well, we are moving on. Let's find something interesting at the conference. So we have a black background. We're doing well. We're doing fine.
Still alive, yes.
Yes, still alive despite gambling. What interesting things did we find?
Well, we talked to various industry players, discussed casinos, traffic, and the new trend where game providers are interested in getting traffic to their games. Often bypassing platform providers, they offer media buying companies and arbitrageurs to drive traffic to their games through creatives related to their themes. This is a new and very interesting trend. Yes, and
It looks very intriguing because we, as True Games, being game providers, are actually doing the same thing right now.
But we've just started.
So it turns out that there are two components here. The first is B2B marketing for a game provider, meaning marketing your games to platform providers or casinos where you can set up and get some user cash. You can also be directly advertised to players through media buying teams, through agencies you provide with your well-prepared creatives, and they use your games in their launches. The user sees an interesting game, lands on the platform, registers, deposits money, and starts playing the game. Now, game providers somewhat bypass platforms and allocate advertising budgets specifically for their games to media buyers. This is a new trend. It's also related to influencer marketing because often the same streamers are directly paid by game providers to use their games during their streams. Yes.
So interestingly, does the platform somehow participate in this?
The platform might not be involved at all and might be uninterested. But why would the platform be uninterested?
Because the platform often has its own games, plus it might have very lucrative contracts with other game providers. And moreover, the platform analyzes the popularity of games on its platform and might choose, for example, other games. For instance, they might have an exclusive agreement with a provider who gives them a very good percentage, and it's basically not profitable for them to get traffic on any other games. But this is also a bargaining element when you approach the platform and say, please put our games at the top. We give you a discount. We give you a fixed amount for placement so that game traffic goes through our games, through my provider.
Listen, how does a game provider even get on the platform? Because everyone loves to work, actually, with a brand, since everyone prefers either using a platform or working through an aggregator. So, what to do? I'm a new game provider. I've just started creating slots. What should I do? You're an iGaming consultant. We'll definitely discuss this separately. But if you're new with, say, 3 games, what should you do?
First, you need to conduct some competitive analysis, show how your games are advantageously different, what market they are made for, which players they target, try to create ads based on this, and see how clickable they are and how they motivate the audience to register with the casino, encouraging and engaging them in the game. This could be a solid sales point when communicating with casino platforms, when you can say, look, these are my game's performance indicators, put them on your casino, and they'll make you money. And further, you would need to gather analytics on the games. If you're in contact with a casino's platform provider and they have data on how your game is being played, you can relay this to your other clients, which will motivate them to feature your game, especially if it shows good retention metrics.
There's one subtle point on this path.
It comes down to the fact that finding contacts for some casino, brand, and so on to bring metrics to your games seems almost impossible.
Why? We're at a conference right now where both platforms, providers, and aggregators are represented. This is where these sales happen. You hook people in for a meeting, and then in a relaxed setting, you discuss cooperation options. For specific B2C brands, it could be placement in a priority zone of the lobby or at the top of the games list, for starters. But this will be tied to payment for placement or possibly a reduced percentage instead. Additionally, with aggregators, it's strategic cooperation revolving around the benefit of featuring their own games. Why should they prioritize your games over theirs, so to speak, based on their clientele?
Oh, it's not easy. It's like there's no way to reach brands except through the conference.
Yes, it's really challenging because the LinkedIn inboxes of many C-level specialists are inundated with messages and contacts. I receive connection requests and proposals from about 10 people weekly trying to reach out. It's genuinely difficult to navigate. He explained further, that's why the most feasible way to engage is through face-to-face meetings or via trusted acquaintances who are capable of giving a personal introduction. There's no question it's challenging. Alternatively, there are these intricate and multi-stage LinkedIn funnels designed for engaging C-level positions, he continued. The approach involves initially introducing yourself, waiting perhaps a week, then following up with an industry-specific question, perhaps extending an invitation for an interview after some rapport is established, and then finally pitching your services. Each step requires patience and strategy.
So as not to kill anyone. Yes, the interview part is interesting. I know for sure it's a working story, but as we understand, not every game provider can. Not every game provider has their own Foxy.
Yes, it is indeed a trend in B2B sales. Now, there are partner programs, media bank teams, and B2C products. Even to enhance their HR brand, they create podcasts in iGaming where they talk with industry leaders, and later they can discreetly discuss some strategic interactions. This is precisely an entry into the market because C-level usually does not have time, and as I say, their inbox is spammed, but they will always come for an interview to talk and discuss any issues.
Well, let's continue exploring, and maybe later you'll even see the beautiful evening Dubai. And Sergey and I will discuss what a turnkey casino is and who an iGaming consultant is.
So here we are again, Foxy and Sergey, and we decided to record a very interesting story for you following the exhibition. We made a conscious decision to record a compelling narrative that delves into the complexities and intricacies involved in the iGaming industry, and most importantly, it emphasizes the pivotal importance of consulting professionals if you are aspiring to create something within the iGaming space. And Sergey has an exceptionally compelling career story, which revolves around his role as an esteemed iGaming consultant. This story will shed light on various interesting aspects of his professional journey, offering valuable insights. Come on, Sergey, tell us who this is and why this person is needed if you suddenly decide to create your own casino or venture into iGaming.
Oh, absolutely. Sergey and Foxy, gaming truly is a booming industry on a global level, driven by innovative technologies such as portable devices and electronic currencies. It provides the flexibility to develop market products untethered from geographical locations, facilitating quick expansion across the globe. Essentially, a product can be created and launched simultaneously in 10 to 15 international markets. Advertisements can be strategically placed on major platforms like Facebook and Google, attracting diverse audiences and allowing you to earn revenue almost instantly. This industry has piqued investor interest significantly as it demonstrates an impressive annual growth rate of 20–30%. Remarkably, certain sectors within this field are projected to double in size over the next 2 to 3 years, highlighting its immense potential. It's indeed a fascinating aspect of the entertainment industry, where the medium is not only becoming increasingly captivating and high quality, but also drawing in a growing number of people to experience it together. Thus, the situation in the CIS had evolved in such a way that it allowed successful international products to emerge. Additionally, a growing number of investors originating from certain white areas indistinct from iGaming decided to invest in and enter this industry. They chose to create their own iGaming products, thereby bringing new opportunities. Oftentimes, people approach me with the request that they would like to initiate or start a business in a similar field, and I have a rather strong and impressive resume posted on the website Headhunter. Additionally, I have a Blinkidini page which holds the distinction of being the first media outlet or platform of its kind. Yes, and I am gathering various leads from there. It used to be more relevant before, but now recruiting companies tend to overheat my resume, making it appear more desirable. However, still, approximately once a week or so, someone reaches out to me with a potential job offer. Typically, in this sense, they're usually seeking middle management staff, but more often than not, it turns out that I'm too expensive or overqualified for them. I provide different services, including consulting and so on. To add more perspective, the gaming industry is a vast and ever-growing industry composed of different sectors such as game creation, casino platform creation, odds and feeds for sports betting, both traditional and esports, payments, and online money acceptance. There are also systems for working systematically with players, CRM systems, and many more essential components. Essentially, it's a vast and interconnected small world with many opportunities for any IT company with a specialization or focus in gaming. Many businesses or entrepreneurs, even legitimate ones, come from this dynamic field, finding ways to innovate and capitalize on this market. Competitive environment in iGaming and earn substantial revenue there. This encompasses several aspects such as data processing bots, customer service call centers, and highly effective CRM systems. Many organizations initially operating in legitimate industries tailor their businesses towards the gambling sector, optimizing them to generate significantly higher profits.
Much more.
It turns out that yes, we are witnessing a trend where different products and opportunities present themselves. Whether it is investors or companies with specific intentions, they are either aiming to diversify their business portfolios or seeking to increase their profit margins significantly by venturing into the burgeoning gambling sector. Alternatively, there are those simply equipped with ample funding, carrying the intent and ambition to create innovative products in this lucrative area because they know that such ventures are poised to bring in substantial financial returns.
Listen, so here we have this captivating story where when you want to enter a business niche that appears to be very easygoing from the outside perspective, like it should be super easy to enter without any real challenges, you'll find there are actually a lot of hidden pitfalls and complications that aren't immediately obvious. That's precisely when you really need the expertise and insight of an experienced iGaming consultant, right?
In the beginning, it's essentially about providing a comprehensive explanation of the entire structure of the industry, much like how one would conduct an in-depth introductory lecture, setting the groundwork for future understanding. For about 8 out of 10 investors, potential people who want to spend money creating a product, I dissuade them from jumping into it with full complexity because some investors don't want to dive into the specifics but think it's easy money. Therefore, I suggest they start small, take a small piece of operations, be it user retention or acquisition, game creation or payment systems, to choose a small product where they see they have the most expertise and create a sustainable, successful product within the gaming market. From there, they can develop more microservices, assembling them into one gaming ecosystem. Will beautifully expand into
The table over here. Come, let's gather here, and then maybe we'll enjoy some delicious marshmallow, or maybe not, maybe. Yes, let's see.
It's possibly in the fog. No, it's visible.
Wait.
Come, let's see. Ah, there, behind you.
Somewhere.
There.
what?
I blocked Burj Khalifa. I'm such a bold woman.
Here.
Such beauty here.
Yes, quiet.
Listen, tell me, did we fully delve into all aspects of this topic today? Can you clearly distinguish the key points I am trying to convey? Today, during our discussion, we explored how numerous companies are increasingly becoming aware of the necessity to expand their creation of original products beyond their current offerings. For example, many gaming providers are proactively seeking to recognize the importance of building and developing their own infrastructure, complete ecosystems, and innovative platform projects, establishing a framework that leads to more proprietary creations. At this stage, it would also be good to consult a gaming consultant. For instance, I have a gaming provider, right? But I understand that perhaps my resources, my money, or something else of mine might allow me to do something extra, like some kind of upgrade. So where do I go?
Yes, there is a difference between those investors who aren't deeply involved in business and those investors who understand something about business and those who have already created something. Those who have created something often think they can easily enter a related field and create something there. For instance, a game provider approaches me and says they want to drive traffic to their games. I say, you aren't driving traffic to your games, you're driving traffic to the platform where your games are hosted. Registration and deposit happen through the platform. Then interaction with your game takes off. So this is going to be a waste of budget for you. You won't be able to directly attract users to your games. You either have to create your distribution point, your own casino where your games are at the top, or negotiate with platforms for additional payouts to have your games placed at the top. You won't be able to make money directly. For that, you need a platform. But some providers go this route. They, let's say, create their own distribution channel for their gaming products, creating platforms that attract traffic. However, this often isn't the easiest way for them to make money, as the platform itself might not be profitable, and so traffic to their games won't necessarily result in a positive economy for them, because their games might just be unpopular. They'll have to compete for popularity with large international companies, and as players play them, they'll bring in more money. That is, it won't be profitable for them to sell their product. It happens. Sounds
sad. Doesn't it sound sad to you? Well,
for them, it's just not the simplest path to building their business. Often companies that are closer to players are traffic teams. For example, those who are media buying agencies or affiliate networks find it easier to launch their product because they already have more leverage for attracting, engaging with the audience, and more ways to monetize. So the game provider business is still more B2B than B2C.
and theoretically, it can't even become B2C because it can't. It can't become B2C because you don't have a platform for distributing your games. You essentially just give them to platforms, brands, aggregators, and so on.
Yes, but for this, large providers, including international ones, are now often launching their own brands. By doing this, they create distribution points for their gaming content and earn additional money there. But this might just be a matter of image, because for them, it's like those signature food stores that stand somewhere. In the city center, they sell some branded sausages or caviar, which never break even, but because they are present in the media space, people see, remember, and think that their products are very good since they could afford to be in such places. In the same way, gaming providers place their games, create their products so that their content is visible, And often this type of media placement doesn't perform, but it performs in the future. People constantly see these games in front of them, they remember them, and then they are more easily converted on them in other casinos as well.
Interesting. So it sounds like iGaming consultant isn't exactly a traditional profession, but rather a culmination of accumulated experience, insights, and industry knowledge that eventually equips you to offer such specialized services at some point. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, yes, of course. Generally, there are consultants with a narrower focus who deal, for instance, only with acquiring issues related to traffic acquisition, analytics, retention, various aspects, payments. There are consultants for payments, and there are consultants specifically for game providers. That is, there are many specialized areas. Usually, I personally hire them for work and pay them for consulting when I need to resolve a specific issue. I probably consult more with companies that either want to enter or are just about to enter the market and encounter certain problems. So I help them solve these problems because I've had experience launching products from scratch. I've been through this path several times and it's familiar to me and I can be most useful. If, after screening and communicating with potential investors, with the company that wants to enter the market, I don't see how I can be useful, I refuse further communication because I believe it's irrelevant and will not benefit anyone.
Or I provide contacts of those who can truly be useful in this situation for them. And usually I have a broad network of acquaintances. There's always someone who can definitely help them solve a task.
Well, that's very honest indeed. Can gambling be that honest?
No, it's just a matter of reputation here, as reputation is the most important thing in our world of gambling, where tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars are exchanged for traffic on a single word, or paid or not paid. Companies are created, yes. So this world is governed solely by the reputation of the people who work in it. Therefore, in this case, to both earn a lot of money and not lose a lot of money, you mostly have to pay attention to your reputation. If you once ruin it, you could say the market door will be closed to you because the community is very narrow. It's big but very specific. Everyone talks to each other. And if you mess up once, the entire industry will know about you in 2 seconds and your way into this cool industry will be closed.
This isn't crypto where you're anonymous and do whatever you want, right?
Well, there are plenty of anonymous folks too, but when you become big, you can't be anonymous. All C-level positions of major companies are kind of familiar with each other, so you have to protect your young honor.
What are the prospects for iGaming in the next 5 years? Just straightforward, looking into the future.
What, more people will just start playing and that's it? Or what? Will there be something interesting?
Overall, the trends are like this. Internet penetration in tier 3 countries, which means market growth there. And by 2028, India's market will double.
Similar stories with Africa are happening. Their internet is becoming better and more accessible. Payment solutions and online banking allow reaching the wallets of even larger players. There's regulation in tier 1 countries like the USA and Canada. Now the Middle East is tackling regulatory issues here. They're building a completely new gaming zone. I think this will spur interest in the online gaming industry. And perhaps they will also regulate online, meaning the market will grow regardless, and the rules of the game will change. But we are in this industry precisely to quickly adapt to all changes. Therefore, in the next 5 years, in terms of work and money, this is one of the best industries to start a career. It's also one of the tightest communities in the foreseeable future. As I said, we travel to conferences quite often. Around 10-12 conferences worldwide per year. We meet each other, there are parties, guest stars, and constantly interesting events. Some companies have even started their own travel agencies touring Africa and Antarctica, so the community is very strong. It's people with money and brains, which is why I believe the industry will only continue to grow maximally. It's a great time to jump in.
If you suddenly decide to enter this industry, think once, then think twice. And if you still decide you know who you need to ask,
if you are doing the right thing. Thank you for this walking podcast. It was very cool. It's not a standard format. Perhaps it will have some kind of visual quality and local Sergey's head. He's just very tall. So instead, Sergey's head could fall out of the frame, or everything was cut off and stopped like this. But hopefully it was interesting. And of course, the magnificent views of Dubai behind us. We decided that a walking podcast is cool and interesting and beautiful. Thank you, Sergey.